Hey, Jay. Darnell on the ice today. You had him in all those 2-on-2 drills. How confident are you that you think he can play tomorrow?
Well, I think he had a good day today, so that's a positive sign. We'll see how he wakes up in the morning, and we'll see where we're at. We got some time, so we're going to use it.
You've used 12-6 and 11-7 almost seamlessly. Is that easy? And so with the guys coming off an injury, does 11-7 make more sense because you're comfortable with it, but also it's a guy coming off an injury?
Yeah, I think as a team we feel comfortable in either situation, 12-6 or 11-7, and there's advantages to both kind of scenarios, and we've showed a flexibility over the last 2.5 months, and I think it's to our advantage that we can go either way.
Hey, Jay, I know guys like Darnell, they're really competitive guys and they want to get in there. And I guess when it comes to utilizing him, how much do you take into account what the player says, what your training staff says, and then looking forward to, the series type thing? Like, or do you just go by what Darnell says? If he says he's ready to go, play him 25 minutes tomorrow.
No, I think what you do is you sit down and you take the opinions of the learned medical professionals and you couple that with what the player has to say. And as I said earlier, I think Darnell had a good day. We'll see how he wakes up in the morning, and we're looking to build on top of it.
Thanks.
I don't know if there's anything that you sense different, but it's playoff time and everything kind of changes in some ways. What do you see from your group? What do you sense from them as this moment is starting here?
Well, I think they've put in a lot of really good work over the last 2.5 months to prepare themselves for this opportunity. And, I thought today was no different. I thought we had a really good practice day. We had good meetings. We had good practice. And, I sense or feel a team that feels good about themselves. And I would say that we used those 2.5 months to earn the right to feel good. Now it's about going out and executing.
What would you say about Connor McDavid's leadership, the way it's developed since you were here before, and how he can apply lessons learned and what his role will be in this moment as the captain?
Yeah, I'm impressed by where he's at in his personal game. First of all, forget the leadership side of things, just how his game has evolved. He's demonstrating so many positive things in the way he's playing. I've said this before over the last few weeks that to me, it's quite obvious he's driven to win. And I think when your captain and leader is doing things the right way, it resonates with the rest of the group. And what we're going to ask Connor to do is no different than what we're asking the rest of the team to do. It's to make sure that they take care of individual responsibility, not worry about other people, not worry about anything other than just bringing what he brings to the table. And, I've seen tremendous growth in him, and I'm excited to see good playoffs from him.
Jay, a lot of players are playing their first series. This is your first series as a head coach. Are you nervous, excited, or this is obviously not like game 76 in the season?
No, I'm excited for sure. I'm excited because our team's has earned the right to be the home team in game 1 of an NHL playoff series. I've been around a lot of NHL playoff games and had some good runs in the American Hockey League. This is my first time being the head coach in this situation, but I feel very prepared for it.
Were you nervous the first time you actually had to address the team as the head coach and make, I don't know if a speech or tell people how you wanted things to go, as opposed to when you were the assistant coach, probably talking to players on the ice who weren't playing and they were complaining?
No, I wasn't nervous. And the reason being is exactly what we were just talking about with Ryan here, which is when you've put the work in, you earn the right to feel confident in that situation. And for myself personally, this is the most natural thing in the world for me to do. I feel most comfortable standing before our team or standing behind them on the bench or with a whistle during practices. That's where I feel most comfortable, and it's something to put a lot of work into, and I'm just fortunate that we have as many good players as that we have that have welcomed not only myself but Dave Manson with open arms.
Jay, when you consider the amount of hours and days and months over the years that shared hockey philosophy with Todd McLellan on the plane, in the coach's room, going into a playoff series trying to, match wits with that. What do you think that's going to be like? Or is this a league where coaches often say there aren't secrets in it?
Well, I understand your attraction to that question. What I would say is that we have, over the last 2.5 months, the Edmonton Oilers have played the Los Angeles Kings 3 different times since Dave and I have been up here. So the novelty of that narrative, I think, has played itself out. This series is not going to be about anything other than the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Los Angeles Kings. I know Todd, obviously, we're friends. He's going to do his best to get his team prepared. And certainly myself and our coaching staff here is doing the same thing. And, I've said this over the last few days, our goal is to have our team play to our fullest potential here. And if we do, we think we'll be in a good spot.
So I'm going to try to come at it a different way.
Okay.
So you came to this organization in 2015, and basically when Leon Draisaitl started, and certainly McDavid and Darnell Nurse as well, is there something kind of fitting or maybe poetic about you trying to finish off the job that you and Todd started?
Well, I think all the people that you mentioned in that question are all trying to achieve the same goal, which is every one of us is trying to be the best that we can be in order to advance our teams forward. Connor, Leon, every player in our dressing room, every coach, every member of our organization is dedicated to try and move the needle here and have a really good series. And that starts tomorrow night with Game 1, and we're excited.
Jay, with all your experience in the NHL as assistant coach during the playoffs, you've seen it, everybody talks about how the game changes.
Yep.
Does coaching change from how you coach in the regular season to the playoffs?
I would say what happens is you're not in the rhythm of an NHL schedule where you're just you're playing one game and you're moving on to the next city, and then you move on to the next city and next opponent. I think in a 4-game series, there's a bunch of nuances that occur, adjustments that occur. And in terms of how we're going to approach that, we're going to approach it with the same level of enthusiasm, same level of attention to detail, same level of intensity, but we're dedicating and focusing and prioritizing our efforts to be the best that we can be versus one team. And it starts with one game, and you're trying to get that first win, and then you build on top of it and you make your adjustments afterwards.
When you go to adjustments, how do you balance not over adjusting to think, oh geez, something didn't go right for one period, well now we got to change? How do you balance that? You've coached a lot at a lot of different levels to not either to know when to adjust but when to stay the course.
Yeah, I think it comes from experience. Something that we're talking about as a coaching staff here is that we want to make sure that we assess, we prioritize, and then we focus. And that's kind of been a little bit of a mantra on our coaching staff here, and trying to make sure that we're dialed in on what's most important.
Jay, just to circle back, I wonder, we always talk about you and Todd, but how do you differ from Todd? How are you your own coach?
Is this your question or Maddie's question?
My question.
Okay. I saw you guys kind of parlaying or whatever. No, can you rephrase that, DMB? I was just teasing you. I
just wonder, we always talk about you and Todd relationship, but how do you differ from Todd? How are you your own?
Yeah. How do we differ? He grew up in Saskatchewan with his own set of life experiences as a person and as a player, and working his way up through the coaching world. I grew up in Toronto, and I have my own set of experiences and influences growing up there. We came together in Detroit. We had a lot of similar professional coaching experiences with the Red Wings, with the Sharks, with Team Canada in 2015, with Team North America. So we have shared experiences there. But in 2018-19, I went to Bakersfield to be my own head coach. And Todd eventually worked his way to the LA Kings organization. He's since had different experiences than I've had. And I wouldn't trade my experience in Bakersfield and the lessons learned there for anything. But I've evolved as a person and as a coach, and I'm sure he has in the last 3.5 years as well.
Okay, my question now.
Okay.
Would you be an NHL head coach if Todd McLellan had not taken a chance on you and brought you with him to San Jose and you had stayed in Detroit?
Probably not. Probably not. I would have, I think you and I have talked about this, Matty, is that at that point in time, I had a decision to make and kind of what path I wanted to go down in the hockey world. And in my heart, I knew I was a coach. That was an opportunity that presented itself. It wasn't an easy choice at the time because I had just been part of a team that had won the Stanley Cup. It's hard to leave an organization like that. Todd certainly took a chance on me, but I took a chance on him as well in trusting my development to him. And, he paid me back in spades with the opportunities that he gave me.
Thank you.
Jay, just wanted to ask you, when you were hired, you talked, it was specifically about Leon and Connor, I think the question about, they wanted to be led to success. And now you've got a team that's really good, has had some disappointments or bumps in the road. Do you get a feeling that they are also wanting to be led here in the playoffs, an area where they just haven't quite been able to find the success they would have liked in the past?
Yeah, I think they're looking to build on a really good last 2.5 months. I did use that term. I think the best players in the world want to be led, and that's what I was brought in to do. That's the responsibility that I take very seriously. And, in terms of our preparation for the Los Angeles Kings, we're making sure that we're very prepared for a team that's going to come in and push us and, going to continue on with that theme. I'm here to try and help move the needle forward. We're going to do that with the help of our coaching staff, and certainly it's going to come down to the effort and execution level of our. Thanks, guys.